trying to build wealth anywhere in the world, you want to avoid gambling. Dr. Emmanuel O. Odigie. Yes, it's another episode of Emmanuel Inspired TV, and we are here today to talk to us about 5 major things every young man, whoever wants to succeed and build wealth successfully, wants to avoid. All right, we're looking at these 5 things, and guess what? As I begin to give these numbers, if you have other things as a young man that you have avoided and has helped you to build wealth, or you have been able to build wealth over time, and there are things you have avoided, I want you to drop it in the comment section so other people who will be watching this video can also learn from you. All right, now let's go straight into the topic. The number one thing you want to avoid as a young man that is trying to build wealth, all right, you're trying to build wealth, either you have wealth handed over to you by your parents, or you are the first generation of people who are actually trying to build financial wealth. The one thing you want to avoid, you want to avoid lazy and unvisionary friends. You want to write that in the comment section for me. All right. If you are watching us right now, I want to know where you are watching from, and I want you to leave us a comment in the comment section. You want to avoid lazy and unvisionary friends. People who aren't going anywhere. All right. People who just end up moving and lazing around on a daily basis. There are people, all right, growing up, I can tell you this for free. There are people actually who felt they don't have any reason to have a vision. All right, they just wake up day by day, or like looking at what their parents are going to hand them over for, or what's going to come to them by the time their parents are no longer here, and all of that. So you want to avoid such people, because the truth of the matter is, if you have 5 lazy persons around you, you didn't count well. You are actually the 6th person, but you just didn't count well. All right, so you want to avoid these kind of persons around you. You want to make sure that you have people around you, people who have aspiration, people who have dreams, people who are actually ready to move their life forward. These are the kind of people you want to keep around you, because you want to ensure that your vision is not clouded or dimmed. The light of your vision is not dimmed by the people around you. Because what's going to happen is, if you're a visionary and you have people who are not having visions around you, what's going to happen? The first is going to stir up jealousy. For those of you who may have actually been around such friends, you will agree with me. It's going to stir up jealousy. People are going to begin to mock you for nothing. Oh, don't mind him. He has as if he knows it all. Oh, don't mind him. He has he's the only one that has future. He has as if, they're going to give you all sorts of names. So for you to avoid those kind of names, avoid people who are visionless, people who don't have ambitions, people who just wake up and believe that, God has brought them to this world. God has to sort out all that concerns them. As much as God is going to sort out everything that concerns you, there's a responsibility that is lie within you to ensure that you yourself, you have a vision for it. Say, write the vision, make it play in the tablet, that he may run of he that readeth. So if you don't have something you are running with, there is something you are actually running towards, then there's a problem as a young man. The question is, where do you want to be 5 years' time? Where do you want to be 10 years' time? If you ask your friends these questions and they don't have a definite answer to this question, you are in the wrong company. You want to change that company. Because why? If your vision, for instance, is to become, let's say, politically, you want to become a governor, and the other guy vision probably to become, something that's different from that, what's going to happen is that you start dragging yourself apart. And before you know, distractions will start coming your way. All right? So you want to avoid such people around you as a young man. The number 2 thing you want to avoid as a young man, if you are getting value already, I want to like this video and share. I want to leave us a comment, all right, in the comment section, and I want to be checking that right away. Just leave us a comment. Let me know where you are watching us from, and if you are getting value already for your time. And you could actually type out the points even as I'm listing them out already. The number 2 thing you want to avoid as a young man that is trying to build wealth, you want to avoid excessive alcohol. Listen to me. A lot of people's life has been drained as a result of excessive alcohol. I grew up in an area that is not quite a very gentle area, right? And of course, it's not actually a rich neighborhood, but because of the kind of people in that area, alcohol become more like what people wake up to almost every day in the morning. All right, as a matter of fact, they sell it around you. It's very easy to access. So it becomes one of the cheapest things to get, and one of the things that young men actually use as an excuse to take away, the thought of even thinking straight about their future is to, begin to take in these substances. Now they've graduated from alcohol right now. There's a lot of other substances they abuse. You want to avoid this because how do you just look at your life? This body is a vehicle of your purpose, and you know that this body is going somewhere. You have a purpose for your life. Why abuse the body that is actually carrying the vision? So when you see a young man that is going it's really comfortable with excessive alcohol, I can show you a man that is not going anywhere because he cannot have a vision and it gives in to excessive alcohol. And I will tell you what excessive alcohol do to you as a young man. First, it disables your ability to think critically. All right, because when you take excessive wine, of course, you know what happens when you're making decisions out of drunkenness. That's exactly what's going to happen. You're not going to be thinking straight. All right, your judgment will be clouded, with a whole lot of stuff. You're not going to have, the ability to have, think straight about your finance, think straight about life, think straight about a lot of things you're supposed to be thinking straight about. Because in your mind, one of the things they normally use as an excuse that time is that, there's no time, let's just drink and forget about your sorrow. Listen, when the alcohol substance finishes in your system and you are back to your normal, you remember that the sorrow wasn't, you only just forgot about it for that moment. The sorrow is still there because you've not provided solution. So alcohol does not actually help you as a young man to, have a good sense of judgment, and it ruins destiny. When it gets to a time, if you have a certain, let's say quantity that can actually intoxicate you, by the time you get used to that level of quantity, guess what? You begin to take higher quantity, and before you know it, you get into alcohol abuse. So as a young man that is trying to build wealth, that is actually striving to have a better future and a better life, you want to avoid excessive alcohol. All right, if you've gotten that right now, type in the comment section even as we move on. And another thing I want to tell you, on this excessive alcohol, personally, growing up, have friends then who say, well, let us go and let's just go and drink and party. And at that time, I'll tell you practically what was really obtainable. A bottle of beer that time was 160 naira, all right? 160 naira. And the same amount was used in buying blocks at that time. So what I used to tell my friends is, why would I just go and drink a bottle of beer when I can actually use the same money to buy a bottle, also to buy a block, to make a 2-bedroom flat, that is not too big, a bungalow and all of that. So I used to make all of this calculation for my friends then, and they called me all sorts of names. And I can tell you the truth, it pays off in a long run, because at the end of the day, it helps to save money. It helps you also not to allow your judgment to be clouded, because when you are on excessive alcohol, you can't think straight and you can't actually take the right judgment as far as financial decisions are concerned. All right. The other thing you want to avoid as a young man that is trying to build wealth, you want to avoid immorality and wrong relationship. Listen, there is nothing that drains a man than having women all around. Every lady you try to get, or you have even gotten, or you've done anything with, something has gone out of you, apart from your finance. All right. So you want to avoid, things that are going, because apart from the fact that it takes time to keep a lady, that's the truth. All right. Yes, when you get of age, you want to get married. Of course, you may want to, have a relationship, date a lady, and all of that. I'm not saying this from a religious angle. All right. My videos are secular videos, so I'm not doing this from a religious angle. I'm just telling you that you want to actually save money. Because you can't work right now and you are earning that lean money, and you are still thinking about immorality. It costs money to commit this immorality. Actually, it's very expensive. All right. Apart from the fact that it's a sin or whatever, it may depend on your perspective. I don't have issues with you on that. But I have issues with the fact that it actually costs you money. It's not free. There is no free lady. There's no cheap lady. As a matter of fact, there is no cheap woman. There is no cheap woman. From the transport fare it's going to use from our house to your house, it's going to cost you something. Believe me. All right. So So you don't want to actually entangle yourself into immorality in the name of, oh, I'm a youth, let me enjoy. You can actually enjoy without alcohol and immorality. You can do that. All right. So you want to avoid that as a young man because it's not cheap. It's not cheap. And especially people also who are, depending on other people, either to do one or two things for you, and you still have time, to start keeping one, two, three ladies all around in the name of, I am smart. That's not smartness. That's you actually killing your finances. Go and check. If you have ever, if you're a young man and you've ever dated a lady or been with any lady, go and check how much it costs you, to keep one lady. It's quite really expensive. From the calls, to the communication, to everything is expensive. And your time. Because as a young man, one thing you don't want to joke with is your time. But you're not going to be young forever. You're not going. In fact, when I turned 40, a lot of reflection came to my mind. I'm like, I was looking towards 40. And when I became 40, I was like, what is it? There's nothing here. But I found out that a lot of things have actually happened. And if I hadn't maximized my younger age, it would have not been a very good thing. I would have regret. There are a lot of things I still look back. I'm going to do a video on that. A lot of things I still look back I should have done before my 30s. Yes. One of the things I should have done before my 30s was to have had financial mentor. I never had one. If I had had a financial mentor before my 30s, by the grace of God, I know where I would have been right now. So these are mistakes you want to avoid because there are going to be opportunities. The world is going to be open to you. You're going to be amazed at the possibilities of things you can do. But guess what? If you don't have the right mentor, you're going to be tempted to go into. First of all, talk about alcoholism, talk about immoralities, and are keeping a lot of wrong relationships around you. Now the fourth one. If you are getting value up to this, I want you to like this video and share it and make a comment, and let us read from you. The fourth thing you want to avoid as a young man that is trying to build wealth anywhere in the world, you want to avoid gambling. I want somebody to type that in the comment section. Listen to me. You want to build sustainable wealth, all right? Not the kind of wealth that you build it and over time it flies away, all right? No, not that kind of wealth. You want to build sustainable wealth over time. You want to avoid gambling. Listen to me. You can't get wealthy by gambling. I don't know how much you can. I don't know how best to to push this to young folks out there. You cannot get wealthy by gambling. It's not possible. Listen, gambling or the gambling firms or those people who have the structure for gambling. I don't want to call any firm name, but of course, maybe subsequent videos I will be called because I have seen a lot of people's life being ruined as a result of gambling. Destiny is being ruined. I told you I came from the lower part of the city, so I understand what these things really meant. I've seen a lot of destiny really ruined. They get 1,000 naira. The next thing they are looking for the next soccer belt. Even you don't even know the name of the players. You don't even know you don't even know football. In fact, even when you know football, you cannot predict football. I'm even saying that for those who do soccer belts. All right, but there's a lot of beltings around, a lot of gambling around. You cannot get wealthy by gambling. Let no man deceive you. There is no amount of money you're going to make from gambling that is not going to go back to them. It's been designed that way because you're going to get addicted. Just like the way we have all gotten addicted to our phones right now. I can't stay without my phone for one day. Believe it or not, it takes a lot of time. It has to take a lot of fasting to get a phone off my hands. All right, that's what gambling does. You don't even get into it. Avoid it like a plague. As a young man, you want to build sustainable wealth. You don't want to get to a point where all the money you've made, either you're working, your salary, or people give you money. Life can actually be ruined as a result of gambling. Recently, there's a guy, in the city where I live here, he actually, unalived himself because of the debts he has gone into as a result of gambling. Yes. True story. This is true life story. Some persons who are here right now can confirm these stories. He unalived himself. But the underlying part was he has a huge debt. And people was wondering, what was he doing with the money? It was gambling. Playing gambling. Hoping he was going to win one day. He got to a point he couldn't take it anymore. He unalived himself. Listen, it drains you. It takes away. You know the vision of that young man. You know what he has actually dreamt. This is a guy who's already working as a professional. He's got a job. it's doing well. In fact, he unalived himself on a job site. You can imagine what that means. That's what we're saying. Avoid gambling like a plague. Don't do it for one day, because anything you can do for one day, you can actually do it again and again. Repetition becomes very easy for you. All right. You want to avoid it like a plague. The fifth one, which I'm going to be giving to you tonight as a young man that is actually looking at building wealth, and you want to build sustainable wealth at that. You want to avoid debt addiction. Some of you get so addicted to debt. I hear people speak snacks like, the money I do, I don't buy person. Listen to me. That's not supposed to be in your mind. If you're going to start going into borrowing, you should be borrowing for business expansions. You should be borrowing for, pushing an idea, pushing an agenda that's going to, bring about, sustainable wealth at the end of the day. Create wealth, massive wealth for yourself. Not borrowing to pay your rent, or borrowing to pay bills. Avoid borrowing like a plague. Because let me tell you what happens to borrowing. When you borrow to take care of your bills and all of that, I'm not by any means mocking you with this, but I'm going to tell you what happens. When the money comes into your hand, you find out that the money is going into a hole, like a pit, because there is already a void that has been created with your borrowing. So you want to fill it. And until that debt is filled, imagine you're earning, let's put it this way, you're earning 100,000 naira and you borrow 60,000, before the month end, and you just receive your salary. Don't forget that the only money you are receiving that month is 40,000. And because 40,000, you are kept a standard of life that 40,000 cannot manage, you will have to borrow again. So before you know, you get into addiction of being addicted to debt. All right, and debt addiction is in fact, it ruins people's life. A lot of people have unalived themselves because they've wondered how will they be able to pay the debts that they hold. And that has made them to, just say, I can't live with these people anymore. Let me just go and let the debt go like that. Listen to me. You don't want to live this life. And, you get to a stage in your life and you look back and you're like, oh, if I had known. And that's why I'm putting up this video to you. If you're a young man, watching this video right now, before your 30s, this is one thing you want to listen to again and again. I want to repeat that. Avoid women like a plague. When I say avoid women, avoid immorality. That's the point. All right. And avoid alcohol. This is the enemy of your destiny. All right. You also want to avoid debts, because debts will put you in a pit that it takes time to rise up again. Avoid having people who are not going anywhere, who are ambitionless, who don't have ambition for life, who are actually not ready to move forward. Guess what? Avoid gamblers. Avoid gamblers. And you yourself, don't get into gambling. It will ruin your life. It will ruin your destiny. I'll give you the bonus one. All right, tonight I actually want to do 5. I'll just give you the bonus one. As a young man that wants to actually build sustainable wealth, avoid procrastination. You don't want to go there. Listen, whatever you want to do today, do it. Do it and make mistakes. Don't wait to be perfected. Don't wait for it to be perfected. As a matter of fact, I've come to realize that anything worth doing is worth doing now, even when you make mistakes. It's not worth doing best. Listen, there is no best thing to be done. There's no best time to do it. If you keep waiting to do it best, you will be procrastinating. And before you know it, you find out that you've done a lot of practice and time is actually just going. And every idea that drops with you have dropped with millions of people across the globe. And if you don't utilize it on time, the creator will take it and give it to another person. So avoid procrastination. Whatever you need to do it now. And as we speak, I remain your friend, to Emmanuel O, Odigie, saying, as a young man, avoid these plagues and allow your life to prosper. Thank you so much. Till I see you again. Please like this video and share it, and leave us a comment if you have value for your time. Thank you, and stay blessed.